Hi guys, Vincent here. So today we're going to review one of the most important fundamentals in sales, but surprisingly 99% of the professionals in the field of selling are not aware of it. Now knowing it will help you build the shortest way to sales mastery. This method is over 2,500 years old and is one of the most powerful ways to influence people. So without further ado, let's discover it. So when it comes to verbal communication, there are 4 possible conversational styles that I want to review and to present you today. So the first one is called the monologue, okay? The first one is called the monologue. And the specificity of the monologue is it holds a very low degree of influence on others. So imagine this is the degree of influence, okay? Here being low influence, and here high influence. Monologue will be here, right at the beginning, because there is absolutely no power of influence with the monologue. Now the other specificity of the monologue is if you look at the agenda, the positioning and the opinion of the person doing the talking, it's actually close-minded, okay, but also very egocentric, okay? That's why the monologue is right here, okay? Number one, the monologue right here. Now, at the opposite, or the different conversation style will be open-minded and altruistic. And that's what we're going to review today. So let's talk first about the first one, the monologue. The problem with it is your interlocutor is less likely to pay attention to you because it's so self-centered. Monologue is the least persuasive method of verbal communication. So monologue is the most common in traditional selling, such as pitch, commercials, radio ads, infomercials, and everything that is transactional selling, such as we are the best, we are number one, we have the best price, we have the best quality, etc., etc. Now the problem with this method of communication is that the consumer are so much bombarded with information that they are completely avoiding it. If you come down to the essential, our brain is wired to do 2 things. The first thing is to survive. The second thing is to conserve energy. So when your brain sees something that is confusing, not interesting, or boring, it automatically shuts down. Now, because our brains are presented to 1.6 million commercial messages every year, yes, 3,000 to 5,000 messages a day, we have developed conscious and even unconscious mechanisms of avoidance. And psychologists call this inattentional blindness. This concept has been popularized by Professor Daniel Simons and Chadris in their famous selective attention test experiment that I want you to look at it right now. It's a short video, but have a look, it's quite interesting.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla? This video is...
So as you saw in this video, the monologue is just like the dancing gorilla. Nobody is paying attention to it, okay? And it doesn't help you in your way to sell and communicating with others. So let's analyze the second one, the second way of communication. And it's actually right here because it's hold still a low degree of influence and it's still close-minded and egocentric, and it's called the debate. Now, the debate is combative and seeks to be victorious. It wants to express itself and just say, I'm better than you. The best representation of it, it's a political debate. We have seen it recently with the Trump, Hillary Clinton political debates. Now, it really influences people to switch their position about the candidate they support. The problem when you are trying to convince people or present them with a self-centered agenda is that they can sense it, and it doesn't put you in the best position of influence. The best representation of the debate is this famous quote from Dale Carnegie that he said, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." And in sales, this is a typical hardcore closing and objection handling. When you hear somebody say, if I can show you that my solution can save you 20% with the same result or qualities that you currently have, wouldn't it make sense for you to switch? You see what I'm saying? Something like this. I'm in a debating situation and it doesn't help me to influence my client, so it's not working. Okay? So let's review the third one. So number 2 was debate. Let's review the third method of verbal communication, which is right here. It's a little bit better, hold a little higher degree of influence, still a little bit more open-minded and altruistic, but it's still not that, and it's a discussion. Okay? Now, if you study the semantic of the word discussion, it comes from the classical Latin to scatter, to disperse, to investigate, examine, and then also to debate. So what I mean is that if you study the etymology, the purpose of the discussion is to protect your own interest and hold a precise agenda. Okay? A discussion can be described as a debate trying to play nice. And this is a problem. There is a win-win in mind. A win-win clearly means that you have an agenda. And as soon as your prospects in sales will sense that you have an agenda, you are out. This is where the majority of corporate sales training always insists that sales is about understanding the prospect's needs and then articulating your solution so that the prospect is compelled to choose your obviously superior solution. This might be better than monologue or debate, but there is still an agenda, and the consumer, when he's sensing it, is avoiding it. So this is what the traditional selling is based on. Agenda means that you are not a client's advocate. You are your own advocate. And 98% of the sales book out there talk about the win-win. But the win-win clearly not working anymore. And this is what we're going to show you today. So I want to talk to you about the last one, the fourth one, the magic one. Number 4, which is the dialogue. Okay? The dialogue is where the magic happens in sales. The most persuasive form of verbal communication. If you study the semantic of the word dialogue, it comes from dia, which means through, and logos, which means the words, through the words. A dialogue request to detach yourself from the expectation of making a sale. Now, the magic of dialogue is your prospects convince themselves, and nothing is more powerful than letting others persuade themselves. It originally came from Socrates. A lot of people are mentioning about Socrates' method, which is way of asking people questions so that they will end up influencing themselves. Dialogue is not concerned with winning or losing, but rather inspired to listen more deeply, to understand more fully, and seeks to find a shared connection. Okay? Now tomorrow, guys, I'm going to show you exactly how powerful this conversational style will be and can help you with sales. I will share with you some exact script that can be applied in both sales that will guarantee you an increase in sales. Do not miss it. It will be game-changing for your sales career. So remember, tomorrow we're going to review the exact script of dialogue, I hope you enjoyed that little presentation today, and I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.